Hello and welcome back to the British and Irish Eagles podcast. And it feels like a long time since I've been able to say those words with my move over here to the USA. And we've got a special podcast here for you today, folks. We'll come to that in a second. Just going to quickly pass over to Phil. How are you, my man? Wasn't in the last podcast. Did you hold it together well? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I like doing the podcast now. I've had enough experience with you bailing on the pods, man. So it's all right.
Well, listen, I don't really care how you are because, to be honest with you, there's another guy on the podcast who I really want to speak to. And of course, it is Eagles assistant head coach, running back coach, Super Bowl champion, Jemal Singleton. How are you, my friend? Welcome back.
Hey, you forgot one.
I
I
shit.
also go by Saquon Barkley's RB coach. That's
Saquon Barkley.
name
I'm
changed
personal
that,
bodyguard.
So that's a big one. But what's going on, fellas? It's been what, a year? Been a
Yep.
year? Been a crazy year.
I know. Oh my God. I remember like it was yesterday. I was reminiscing watching some of the clips back today from last year's show. And, we'll get into some of those clips and some of the things you talked about. But it was so interesting to hear you talk about before the Saquon season, obviously then seeing you in person during the Saquon season, and now getting you back on post what was possibly the greatest running back single season of all time. Including a Super Bowl win. Fourth time on the podcast. Safe to say you've been keeping a low profile since the Super Bowl. No personalized elaborate golf carts, no Titleist balls, no belt buckles, or any other such purchases, Jamal?
I'm such a modest kind of guy. I just don't like to put things out there. So, yeah, we won a Super Bowl, but if you looked at any of my social media accounts, you probably couldn't even tell that even happened. So.
No, I mean we certainly couldn't. We certainly could. Hey, listen, we love that. We're here for all of that. I want to see more of that. You give a little show up there to your belt handy, I hear.
Oh, watch out! This was a custom made. Check this bad boy out.
Oh wow,
that's incredible.
I will say this: one of my favorite parts of it, though, is I got, if you can see it, kind of. Yep. I got all the running backs' names and numbers.
Yeah, that's so nice.
So
amazing.
Just definitely can commemorate an amazing year. Not just the one game in the Super Bowl, but the whole season was amazing.
Hey, it takes a whole running back room, right? Even when you do have the best running back in the NFL, by quite a way, I'll hasten to add. One more question we got to ask you before we go any further. You had a special night last night. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, we showed up at this place and they were giving away some jewelry. It was just kind of cool. They were just giving these things away, and we walked up and went through it, and it kind of came. You're seeing a little bit of the light. I don't want to get too crazy, but
the thing is, it's got its own stage. It's unbelievable.
It's its own stage. Okay, but we've got to do this. Is the coolest thing ever. Like this thing, it's functional. I grew up as a kid loving the Transformers.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Are you kidding me? This thing has wings. It's unbelievable.
It's so cool,
is that the coolest thing you've ever received in your life?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's an almost. I mean, just the organization, Mr. Laurie, just what he does, and for that, it's never going to be a small affair. So for him, just the wings popping out of the ring, and just for him, it's pretty amazing since he's been the owner of this team, just what they've done and how invested he is in winning, and that's why we've had an opportunity to go to a few good games.
I love that. Hey, Mike, we're going to get to Nottingham Forest. Don't you worry, but we're going to talk a bit of Birds and a bit of Jamal first. And the last time Jamal wore his Nottingham Forest jersey, they lost that game. So
yeah, pretty bad.
Been retired.
I look at it. I have it hanging up. I just touch it. I try not to put it on. I think I was bad.
Oh, I love that. So a question just popped into my head there. Like whenever you see people on TV when they're retired and they're analysts, and you see, depending on how many rings they've got, they're wearing one, they're wearing two, they're wearing three. I don't think I've ever seen players wear them while they're still in their career, or coaches wear them while they're still in their career. Is that an unwritten rule? Have you seen that happen before?
I think it's because the nature of the game is it's a now. What have you done for me lately? Type league where it's you
Gotcha.
got to win now, and if everything you look at is a memory of something in the past, well, you're not moving in the right way in the future. So it's I think part of that, and I've done it too. I'll pack up a bunch of Super Bowl stuff. You won't see me wear it during the season. It's just I don't know. Maybe it's something that not a superstition, but it's just something that hey, I really want to focus on where we're at right now, where my feet are right now. That'll be something when I'm retired that oh yeah, I'll be talking a lot about it then. But right now, I'm still on a mission to try and win as often as we can.
That's amazing. And I'm going to give you a thank you and an apology. So here, so my thank you is for the lovely gift from the Singleton family of the pieces from the confetti from the Super Bowl win. It's on the mantelpiece, pride of place. And Phil, I'll let you take a couple back home when you come over with me. We come over and see me. And an apology is I now live in the USA, coach. So me bringing you English chocolate is going to be more difficult than it has been in the past.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
know what? That was my biggest complaint about this whole transition thing you did. I mean,
I
let me
mean,
get my treats.
you're gonna have to. Phil's gonna have
Phil,
to be your man.
Phil, I need you, Phil.
I'll sort you out, man. I'll take up the mantle and be the hero.
There you
What I
go.
will say though is, we will probably have a lot more visitors regularly from the UK than you probably do at the
Okay.
moment. And we've got all four sets of our parents coming over between September and December later this year. So I'll put a little request in for
Yeah,
Jamal on each of those bags that are coming over.
a
Don't
little
you worry.
carry on for me. That'd be great.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Listen, first serious question, is I don't know how you're going to put this into words, but what does it mean for you, but not just you and your family and your extended family and friends, to be a Super Bowl champion?
It's unbelievable. I mean, just so grateful and humbled for the opportunity at all. And you work hard. I mean, you spend a lot of time in the office. My family sacrifices for me to be able to do the work that I do, and it's unbelievable that we were able to achieve really for my career field the mountaintop. It's to be at the top, to be there. There's no other game I could have won, no other game I could have been a part of. We won the last one. We won the championship, and that's something that I'll take with me for a long, long time. I will say this, uh, with it being such an amazing feeling, it's what you think about now. It's like you want every year to end that way.
Right.
I've done both. I've done both. I've lost the Super Bowl, and that might be one of the worst feelings I've ever had in my life. And I've won the Super Bowl, which might be one of the greatest feelings I've had. So that's what you want. And as much as it's kind of pains me to say, um, anything short of that, not that I'll consider it a failure, but it is. It's the goal is to win the big one, and I think once you taste that, it's addictive. You want it, and you want it
To
as I
rush, right?
get it. Yeah, and the work. I mean, it doesn't just come, doesn't just show up. You aren't just okay. You draft one guy, okay, you're gonna win the Super Bowl. No, there's a whole process that really continues the whole year round, and that's why you got to work and get it. So unbelievable feeling to be a Super Bowl champion. It'll be over tomorrow. That's it. The new
That's
season
it, right?
started,
First
and
day back.
that's it. It's not like we get to hold the belt until somebody beats us and takes it away from us. It's not like boxing. It's now we all start from scratch, and there's 32 teams that are vying to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, well said. You made me think of a couple of things here. I'm a big golf fan. I know you're a golf fan, Jamal. I got a question for you later, actually, about golf, fly fishing, and motorcycles. So we'll wait for that one. Um, Rory McIlroy has been, since Padraig Harrington was no longer relevant, as an Irishman. Padraig Harrington, I've been living and breathing his career, and for the last 10 years without that major, it's been horrible. And to see the emotion and joy on his face when he finally won the Masters to secure the Grand Slam, and then to see how over the next 3 or 4 weeks he didn't seem to give a shit about anything because he'd won the Grand Slam. The reason I say this is because you've got people like that who, when they get there, it takes them a while to get over it, especially how long it taken for him to get there. Then you've got people like AJ Brown and Scotty Scheffler, who said like they literally were able to enjoy it for moments, minutes, and then all of a sudden they were, it was straight back to, well, how do I do this again?
Yeah.
Where are you? Somewhere in the middle? Which kind of, where do you fall on that?
No, definitely. I was not afraid to celebrate the victory. I was not afraid to enjoy the fact that we did win a championship. But really, for me and just life in general, that was awesome. Super Bowl's awesome. Getting a ring is awesome. All those type of things. But that isn't the end all be all. My life isn't defined by my coaching profession. My life isn't defined by the number of Super Bowls we win. So that's a whole nother piece. This is, just the career professionalism is, hey, you want to be the best you can possibly be. Boom. Okay, you won. But there's a lot of teams that have won one Super Bowl. There's those type of things. So it's more about getting it. And that's what pretty cool last night. You had the guys that were around in 17 and they had their
Oh, they were
rings,
there as well.
the other rings. So it's like
Right.
coaches that were on staff. Obviously Howie, Mr. Lowry, and all those guys. So it's you see that, and I remember me and Saquon were like, man, kind of jealous. They got two. We need to get another one. And it's like that's what you want. So yeah, for me, I'm probably on the side with Scotty and AJ of more of, hey, it's great, but we're on to the next. Not like I didn't think that by winning this Super Bowl, my whole life would change. I would glow as I walked around or nothing like that. It was something that I wanted and I worked really hard for. And it's going to be something that I continue to work really hard for. So, yeah,
That's
more on that side.
that's amazing. I got I got another question about last night, and then I've got a couple of fun ones for you. Um, what was it like last night? Like the atmosphere, the vibe. We saw some players, saw Reed, Ghost, and Coop. Opening theirs like whoa, and Sydney Brown was on Instagram and all sorts. Like,
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
what was the vibe like? And did anyone get a little loose?
It was, well, I say that this is what I was reminded of, and this is kind of how I felt. We were kids on Christmas morning. We were
Nice.
kids getting the gift that we had wanted, that we had asked for, begged our parents to get us, all that stuff. And you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know what it was going to look like. You had all the rumors of, wow, this, that, and the other. And then you open this box, and like you said, this ring that's on its own stage, rotating by itself.
That's crazy.
It's unbelievable. It just like it's you just couldn't imagine it being that way. And obviously the Eagles, with Missile, they're always going to put on a great show. Always going to be a great event, and just be able to do that, be able to share that moment with my wife. Go there. We kind of pulled up. So so I got to have this discussion a little bit. So
Cool.
I don't know what it was when we got the invite, all that stuff. We're going. I'm thinking, okay, you can wear my suit. We're on a little deal. And then they were like, a little bit not low key, but hey, more of a fashion statement, more of a statement, blah, 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 just whatever. And I
Duh.
just thinking, my wife, we're driving back from Colorado Springs. I'm got
Yeah.
big truck, trailer, we're hauling the horses, all this stuff, and I'm like, we've been doing this rodeo. I've been at all these rodeos all summer. I was like, what if I go like straight up Western with this thing?
Oh, you didn't.
Got this Western belt buckle I gotta wear. Well, I was like, let me wear that thing, and went with a cowboy hat. Bought me a little, Western style suit jacket and all this stuff. And the best part was, so people know it's not mine. My wife has a Ford F450 dually, which is
Wow.
a huge monster of a truck. It's got to be to pull the trailer that we're having. So
Right.
I said, we're taking the truck. She's like, we're not taking the truck. We're going valet. This poor valet guy's gonna have to. I was like, babe, I'm
Oh
wearing a
my God, the
cowboy.
valet!
Yes. I said, I'm wearing a cowboy hat. I got boots on. I got a Western buckle. I'm not driving in a car. We're driving in the truck, dang it. And
Oh,
so we
give
did.
a
So
little spinny wheel at the back of the boot as well.
but no, we pulled up in the monster, stepped out,
No.
and we got a good chuckle with some of the valet guys, and hearing back, hey, they're gonna need two spots in the back. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, right, I'm gonna need 2 spots.
Did they
That
ask for
was
did
the
they ask
part.
for two did they ask for two tips?
I know, but it was great. And we pull up. They had a little green carpet. You took a little photo. It was really a lot of fun. It was well done. Just and the difference was because of the timing of it. We didn't have it in June, so it was in July. So a bunch of the everybody's been kind of gone and away from each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
So we've
So
been
it's like a
on
reunion.
vacation. It was, and so
Mm,
and then even the players that are on other teams now that weren't there in the off season for them to come back. Like I was able to see Kenny
nice.
Gainwell, and we were able to hang
Kenny
out, and
G.
Ty Pride, and and just see all the other players that you hadn't seen really since the Super Bowl or since the parade was the last
Yeah,
time you saw them. So it was awesome. It was an awesome moment for that. There were so many people that were involved that make that go, and it was unbelievable. Like still just that box opening, the number of gasps and oh my god, it's just unreal when everyone saw their rings.
Someone asked me a question yesterday. Well, I think it was Auntie Sandy. She was like, first she was like, "How much are the rings worth?" And I'm not asking you that question. Don't want to know. Um, I've already done a Google myself. I can have a guess at it. But who fronts the bill? Is that the NFL or is that Lurie? Do you
So it's a combination of things, I believe.
right?
Um, we kind of paid the taxes on them,
Right. Okay.
so
Yeah.
that of it. But it's really, I think it does. I think it falls in the organization. I'm not going to throw
Yeah.
out the number that I
No.
heard,
No. 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 I
but
don't. I don't. You can tell me off camera.
It's got to
so
be
I'm
a lot.
like, yes, I'm glad I only had to pay the taxes on that thing. But
Well,
no,
some of them get resold. I mean, it's a very sad state of affairs.
so
I think if someone resells one, but they go
now
for so
they
sorry.
they have things kind of in there. Like you signed about you won't sell this ring. If you do sell it, you have to sell it back to the Eagles for like $1. Like it's like there's a whole big thing.
Really.
You're not just going to see Super Bowl rings on the market. I know occasionally that stuff kind of happens, but
But you
you
don't
know
want Big Dom turning up at your door like,
exactly, exactly. But no, they're unbelievable, and like I said, something that I'll have for forever and pass down hopefully to the grandkids and all that stuff. But no, that was unbelievable night, unbelievable ending to just was an amazing season, and just getting everybody back together was pretty cool. And we'll flip the switch here, and for coaches, about 24 hours, we'll be in the office. So.
well, I'm going to keep you on cloud nine for a moment longer, if that's all right, Jamal. And I was thinking to myself while I was downstairs earlier. I was thinking, Jamal. I was thinking when you talk about the pinnacle and reaching the top of the mountain. I was like, Jamal has just coached possibly the best running back performance of all time throughout a season. So that will never change, Jamal. Like your name, you are the person who coached possibly the best running back at the peak of his powers for the best season of all time in NFL history, and you won a Super Bowl. Like, have you ever stopped to think about that for a second? Of what that means, like for history, for your family,
Uh,
for your legacy?
if I'm being honest, I just feel blessed. I mean, it's
Yeah.
to be here, and there's so many, and it's not. I don't feel there's anything such as a coincidence that I'm at the Eagles or a coincidence that Saquon Barkley showed up at the door. I mean, those are things that I think were put in place, and I was just fortunate to be here, be a part of that. I mean, I got a front row seat to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was coaching part. Yeah, I believe so, no doubt about that. But just for that young man to do what he did, and to be as humble and understand it, that was the best part. The fact that he knew this wasn't something he did by himself, and he would nonstop praise his teammates, praise his linemen. He would always deflect. And I think it was great. You watch the ESPYS, and Jordan Mailata accepts a award for him and says, "Well, if Saquon was here, he would have said it was the team that helped him jump 40 inches backwards."
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, but that's the type of young man. So really, just feel fortunate to have been able to not only witness it, but kind of be in the room and see it play out. But yeah, it's crazy. Occasionally I'll kind of rattle off a stat, and then it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, that is unbelievable. The amount of 60-yard touchdown runs he had, the amount of 21-mile-per-hour run. It's like, it's crazy, and I think I enjoyed it, and obviously had a chance to celebrate a little bit. But that's one of those things that in 10, 15 years, when I'm that old guy on the bench somewhere watching a game. Like, hey, I used to coach Saquon Barkley back. But it's a year. And the great thing, and I mean this, the great thing is I know how he thinks, and we're not done. Like there's
I know
more,
that.
and it's just, and I'm motivated, he's motivated, and it's just more that of there's more. There's a lot more that could be done. There's a lot better. We could play better, as crazy as that may sound. We could play better than what we did this year. So, no, unbelievable. Just like I said, more important. He's such a great person. Like I tell people all the time, yes, I coach Saquon Barkley, but you know what? I'm a Saquon Barkley fan, and
Yeah.
that's what's awesome.
Well, your highest rated running back ever out of college, and
For
you
sure.
know,
Tape don't lie. Tape don't
uh,
lie.
so a couple of follow up questions there. Keep getting loads of them. I need to start writing them down before I forget them. Did you see him do the wing challenge, the hot
Yes.
wings?
Yeah, I
Right.
did.
Oh
That
my God,
discussion.
Phil, have you seen this?
I don't think I have.
So he does a hot wing challenge. It's a big thing over here in the US. It's all over Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And not many people can finish it. There's not many people I think
No,
who
I
finished
don't
it.
think they get to the end.
No, so he got through all 9. Jamal, how far are you getting on the wing challenge?
Uh, I'm a Cholula. That's about as spicy as I go. I'll put a little bit of that hot sauce on. I might make it by 1 or 2, but there's no way to get to 9. That's crazy.
Love that. Love this podcast. Sending love from the DMV. God bless Eagles fan, diehard Eagles fan. Would come there. There was a question a second ago on there, which was other than the wings. What's your favorite other detail on the ring? They
I
leave it
love the inscription part. I do like kind of that we have the scores of the games, and it's like 145 points, and it's like that was an NFL record in the playoffs. Like that's
crazy.
one of those stats where you look at it, it's like, wow, can't believe we did that. It's like it's unbelievable. But I do like the inside the inscriptions of it, that the scores against the opponent. So I know when you sometimes you forget some of those things and those details are there in the ring, but that
That's
thing is
cool.
ridiculous. They made that with every single detail: the diamonds, the shine, the wings, the nail on top, the bird. It's crazy. It is a really cool thing.
I think Jamal already answered the alley one. He's not going to be wearing his ring everywhere. He's
Uh,
focusing. He's focusing on the next one. Maybe in the shower.
maybe the bed. Maybe I'd be like my
Maybe in bed.
cuddly teddy bear. I'll just sleep with my ring every night. Maybe do that.
Not sure it could be a very comfortable pillow, to be honest. So last I was watching, and Phil, you're gonna have to just jump in for questions because I'll just keep going. Um, I can
I'm
speak
too
all
busy
day.
twisting the knobs, and I'm the guy
All right,
behind the curtain.
you're doing it.
Engineering right now. He's doing.
Yeah, making it all happen.
I'm just a spectator like everyone else. I'm just enjoying myself.
um, so last year, one of our video reels that we did was you saying, "I've told Saquon he's not doing the tush push. I don't want to see him lining up in the quarterback zone." And you know how effective it was, and you said on the podcast, Jalen wants a touchdown. He's going to have to do it from the 5 or further out, right? He took that to heart. He was going from the 60 to 70 to 80.
Well, you say that. I still think, and I don't know what the leagues was, but he had like 10 tackled at the 1. Like 10. It's like can't imagine how many touchdowns he would have had if he had not got tackled on 1. So believe me, that's when we talk about motivation for next year, things that you do. That's definitely one because we would laugh. I mean, as soon as it happened, he'd be like, "I know, we got to score from further out." So no, he's got to get that 1 extra yard a few more times than those touchdowns. But you're right, we're tush pushing, and they tried to ban it, and it's still around. So it's gonna be we may do it every play now.
Well, right. If you get 3.5 yards every play, then there's your first down. We'll come back to that Kevin question. I think that's Kevin, Phil, in a in the Saquon section further up. I want to switch it up a bit from the NFL for a sec. So what's your off season been like, Jamal? Every year we get the download of you don't get the TV for 3-4 months. You're carrying the water in the bags, and more importantly, I really want to get an update on how your daughter's been doing
Yeah.
on the rodeo scene. So I'd love an update, man.
So it's great, and one of the best things about the NFL is there is a summer vacation. Like after OTAs and the players go, you do get a significant amount of time off. As the years are long, and that's what we do. So my daughter has been competing in rodeo for I think since birth now. My wife used to compete. She'll get back into it, but she's kind of coaching right now. My joke is I'm not the best coach in my house. My wife and teaching my daughter, but we get on the road, and it's kind of funny because I snuck out the house so in case the dogs are barking. I'm actually in our horse trailer, so
I thought you were. I wasn't going to say anything. When your internet was going a bit whiffy a second ago, and I was
I'm.
like, "Is he in a trailer?"
So yeah, that's where we're at. And this becomes our home for 5 weeks, and so we go down, and usually our trip starts in Oklahoma. She does competes in a few events there. Had some good runs out there. Met some great people, and then we go to Des Moines, Iowa for her national. She qualified for the junior high finals rodeo for the past couple of years since she's been junior high. So we head out there for a week. Then we go to Wyoming.
How did she get on, Jamal?
Not bad, not bad. She didn't make it to it's called the short go, which is kind of the finals of it. It's taking those 200 kids down to 15, and she was real close to making it.
She was. Oh, nice.
Little bobble at the end on her poles, but no, she did really well. Had one of her I actually did have her fastest time that she's ever had.
PB
at finals. So that's the part that I love. It's like, hey, you're on the biggest stage now. This is the championship. Compete and get after it. And the fact that she's kind of 2 years in a row had the best time that she's had of the year at that point. So it's definitely good there. Then we go to Wyoming, spend some time there in the mountains, fishing and just kind of hanging out. That's kind of my woosah. That's what my really relaxing. And then this year we were able to go to Colorado Springs in Colorado. That's where the Air Force Academy is, where I went to school. So I got a chance to take my daughter on another tour. This one she'll remember. She's always been real young before, but got a chance to go by the stadium and do that. And then we get on the road and we drive back. So we kind of 3-dayed it back, stayed at a couple horse hotels on our way back. Did it, but it's so much fun with the family and the horses and just kind of hanging out. And when you're not competing, you're just spending some good quality family time.
You got up to some memorial stuff as well. I saw some ceremonial Air Force related sort of memorial kind of event that you went to as well. I can't remember exactly what it was.
That was right there when we went to the White House. So that was part of our visit to
oh yeah, of course it was. Yeah, that was it.
That when we got
How was that, Jamal?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was my second time being in the White House and meeting the president. I went when I was in college at the Air Force Academy when you win the Commander in Chief's trophy. Between the other
Abraham Lincoln back. Just kidding. Who was the president? Who was the president then?
Clinton. It was Clinton.
Clinton. All right, yeah.
But no. So we got to do that, and that was at Arlington Cemetery. That was the tomb of the unknown soldiers, and the Eagles laid a wreath down. I was fortunate enough to be a part of that ceremony. Very, very sombering, but pretty impressive, unbelievable that just the amount of people that have given their lives in defense of our country. So but it was cool. So it's been a mixed bag. Played a little bit of golf when I got a chance to. Fished a little bit. I didn't get to jump on the Harley much because it was at the house and we were many states and miles away. But we'll try and maybe sneak a ride in sometime. We'll figure that out.
Well, I've never driven on a motorcycle before in my life, and I've never fished of any type of fishing in my entire life. So at some point in our friendship, Jamal, which I hope extends many years, you'll have to take me to do one of them.
Yeah.
But I do have a question for you. In 2016, you were interviewed by the Colts before you were joining, and you were asked what your favorite hobbies were, and you said riding on my Harley. You said playing golf and fly fishing. And at the time, I don't know if you remember saying it, you said you're aiming for the trifecta of one day driving on your motorbike to a golf course, playing around the golf, and then finishing up with fly fishing afterwards. It was a bucket list thing that you hadn't achieved yet. We're 9 years on, Jamal, so I have two questions. One, have you achieved your bucket list dream there? Or two, have you added any more hobbies to that list?
No, those are the three. Now I've gotten two of the three at one time.
Okay.
So and that used to be
fly fishing while on a motorbike.
Okay, there might have been a break in between the two events, but no, I used to when I coached at Oklahoma State. phenomenal. Carson Creek is the name of their course, and that's a school that's got like 21 national championships in golf. Unbelievable. Just the number of players. Like Hovland played there, Ricky Fowler played there. Like there's multiple guys on the tour that played there.
Love both of those
But
players.
on 17 of that course, there was a great kind of where the lake would go under a bridge, and depending on how I was playing, I'd stop and maybe pull over. My fly fishing gear happened to be packed in the back with my golf clubs on my cart, and then I'd fish. But I've seen a guy with some rack that he had built on his motorcycle that he carried his golf clubs on. So there's hope. There's definite hope that can happen.
There is hope. I mean, one solution could be you have 13 acres back there, Jamal.
Yeah,
That's enough for a par 3 or 2.
I swear you're listening into my house because that conversation's come to my house many a time.
Has it? No,
I could be off the porch and have like at least I could hit a 3-wood maybe. So
right. So here's what you do. You build a par 3 with a lake. Right.
There you go. Easy enough.
The lake has fish in it.
That's it.
You build it an acre or 2 out. You walk your golf clubs down. You jump on the Harley to drive down to the golf. You hit your golf ball into the water, then you try and fish it out.
Then I try to fish it out. That'd be it. We'll mix it all together. That sounds like a plan. I'm gonna have you talk to my wife about that one. We'll get that.
I have missed podcasting so much, and I've missed speaking to you as well. Have you seen we've got a little fella joining us here? Bit of an update on Amos. I don't know whether you ever knew this, Jamal, but when he was 6 months old, he ate 42 inanimate objects that were in his stomach that we didn't know about. We thought his stomach was just hard, and it was wood chippings, hair ties, wires, like earphone wires, laptop chargers, like you name it. And then when we moved him over, we realized his stomach was a bit hard. You might see he's a bit shaved here.
Someone called that Darwinism, Liam. I think it's amazing he survived this long.
I have no idea. So his stomach was quite hard the other week, and we were really worried because new house, shit everywhere. We weren't tidying stuff up as much as we used to. So we took him to the vets and they did an X-ray, and they said inconclusive. And then they went, so that was $500. Then they went, go take him for an ultrasound. Okay, of course, we love this cat. $700 for the ultrasound. What was wrong with him? Yeah, you're being cute now, aren't you? What was wrong with him? He just had a lot of shit clogged up in him. He just had loads of poop clogged up in him. Anyway, good stuff. So quickly before we get back to the Eagles, highlight of the trip: White House, ring ceremony, rodeo, fly fishing. What you got? What's fishing number 1?
Oh, well, it's always our Wyoming part. It's always that one because we're kind of not really rodeoing that time, so the horses are kind of taking a break, and then we're spending time on the river. They're making bonfire. We're looking at the stars. We're hiking up mountains. They hiked up to this place called Medicine Bow, and there was still snow up there, so the girls got to play on some snow. So that part's always good. That's with my sponsor family that I had when I was 18 years old at the Air Force Academy. Second family, the Bows out there. So we've been going there for years, and we'll hopefully be continuing to go a bunch. But that's always the highlight for me is that one little spot. Now there's a lot of phenomenal things the whole trip around, but that's kind of the one that sticks out for me.
So nice. Screw you, White House. It's Wyoming. I love that. Family's more important. Family's more important. Sorry. Phil has messaged me right while we're on the podcast, and he's gone, they've turned off tagging. Let's get to the Super Bowl or talk about your cat. That's also cool. All right, let's get to the Super Bowl. Phil,
keep them on pace, Phil. Keep them on pace.
That's all I ever have to do, man.
Phil, take us away. Question 4. Second page. It's all you, baby.
Yeah, finally, let's get on to the Super Bowl itself, because this is the first time we've got a chance to speak to someone who's won. I mean, you've been to 2. We spoke to you a couple of years ago now, just after the defeat, but now you've won it, and you can look back on the lead up to the game itself, media week, like the during the game emotions, the locker room afterwards, the trophy parade. Like, just give us how it was from start to finish, man.
Okay, this is something that it was unbelievable the week we were out there. So you go out there you're out there for a week before the game. It's not what you normally do, but you're out there. Our guys were more focused than I think I've ever seen a football team, and
I heard that.
and
That
it's
came across, yeah.
I had a confidence just from them, like how they were working, and it's your night, and it's the first couple nights you kind of get them. They get a little bit of free time, they can go do it because it's like their normal day off back at home, but there was guys were hanging out in the hotel, kind of in our area. They're playing cards, they're talking, there was shooting. They would always have hoops, we have games and stuff, and the guys were there, and it's like they weren't just all trying to get out, go out, do anything. They were so dialed in, and it just you gained a confidence. And I'm not afraid to say I truly felt going in that game that we were going to win. I'm not saying that I
So
don't
cool.
feel that other times, but it was a different confidence, and it wasn't a confidence of my own. It was a confidence gained from what I saw our team, the way we practiced, the way we worked, the way we met. Like there was just an air, and I think you hate to say this, but the fact that we had played the Chiefs in a Super Bowl before and had victory right at our fingertips and lost, and I think there was enough coaches, there was enough players that were a part of that. And I also think, and Saquon was new, but he was kind of on a mission as well, just with how he had been playing. So that part of it, there was just felt great. Like going into the game, like it was like we're going now. I'd be dead liar if I tried to say, yeah, I saw that we were going to be up 24 another. Oh yeah, we're going to do it. No, I didn't think that. But the way our defensive play, where our front four got after the quarterback, and the way we responded, and the way other players made plays, like it was amazing. And I think it really came back to the mindset that those guys had. It was unbelievable. And you win it, and for a coach, now obviously we were up and that, but in the NFL, you very rarely aren't. You're trying to win the game at the end. It's a field goal. It's a one series game. It's all this stuff that's going on. So not only just in any game, but the fact that in the Super Bowl, I honestly got to step back, take a deep breath. I looked around the entire stadium, just looked, knew where my family section was, looked up to see them, and just went and just took a deep breath and said, "We're winning the Super Bowl." And it was I'm getting chills right now. I'm getting chills right now. It was an unbelievable feeling because you don't get to do that. And we were able to put our twos in, and they got to go in and play in a Super Bowl, play games, and we're just kind of. And what was great was we didn't get to that point till very late, right? Even when we were up those 24, there was no. Nobody on the sideline was relaxing. I think you've all seen it on TV. Jalen's trying to go back in the game. Like
I know.
all this stuff, they were just so motivated, and I think that's what you want. You want your team to be confident. You want your team to execute. You want your team to do extremely well, and they did. And like I said, to have that moment at the end to really just take it in before the clock struck zero, that doesn't happen. So that part was on, and then you got your after party, and it's exciting. I had some good friends of mine from high school, or teammates of mine that were there as well, and you're in there at the party afterwards, and you're hearing the music, and I'll never forget. He's like, "Man, it's kind of crazy. You're hearing this song, but you don't realize the actual artist is on stage doing the song right now." Like, I didn't know.
That's
I
so
thought it was
cool.
like a DJ. It's like, no, that's the actual member that sings that song.
Did you
So
have a cigar like Jalen did, sat in the
no,
corridor?
I'm not a big cigar guy, and in the locker room was just crazy, and rightly so. The guys just enjoying the moment, having the victory. You could just see just the amount of work, and a little bit. There was a little bit of weight lifted off the shoulders when you said just 2 years ago you were right there, had every opportunity to win, and you didn't, and then you came out and just with a dominating performance was able to do it. So. We could sit here all day, go over the different storylines and the different pieces of it because it was. And I think this is going to be one of those years where 10, 15 years down the road, you look back at every single piece of it. I mean, we started 2-2. We go out we played in Brazil. And Mr. Laurie said it last night. It was pretty great. We went from Brazil to Bourbon to Broad. And that was the 3 Bs that we took in that Super Bowl and the parade. Oh, guys, the parade is unbelievable. The parade, if they told me there was 2.5 million people, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably more than that. It
Yeah.
just, we're on the Rocky Steps, and you look out like it was a sea. Like you literally did not see where the people ended. And just the fan base, it was a 4 hour just amped up party nonstop, no breaks, no nothing, just, and it was unreal. And it was to see the fans celebrate the way they did, to know that you got a chance to help them put that smile on their face, and then just they showed out. It was unbelievable. It was such a great day and great time, and you just keep adding on to the storylines of that.
I'm gonna come to that one as well. Back to that one as well, Phil. So I've got Bill and Kevin to come back to, just because just listening to that's incredible. I'll give you a bit of a taste for what it was like in London, because we were hosting a watch along party in Patrick Avenue with, there was, I think, 1,200 people in
There was
this.
easily over 1,000. Yeah,
Easy, well over 1,000 people in the bar we were hosting. Patrick, who sponsor our podcast,
Yeah.
watching this game, we were doing, and they were, so in London, you've got loads of NFL bars, and you get fans from all teams who go and watch it.
Yeah.
This was like 95% Eagles, like it just complete takeover, and there was games, and we were on microphones, and when we won at the end, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about where I was, let alone where you were. I was there with Phil, and it was magical. At what point in the game, you said when it was 24-0, everyone was like, still, when it was 24-0, I did not think it was over, because it was
Yeah.
Mahomes and it's Andy Reid. And you've seen what they can do in the past. You've seen what Brady can do in the past. You remember Atlanta, Falcons, etc. And you've probably seen that video where Gronk and everyone is saying, "It's remember what Atlanta did, remember what Atlanta done," and then the dagger, and then they're all like, "Oh."
shut the hell up.
At what point did you think this is it? Was it the dagger? Was that the moment where you thought this is ours now?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely that. I mean, you came out after halftime and they still couldn't do anything. Our defense was still so aggressive and still getting after the quarterback and all that stuff. But definitely that dagger, because it really felt like, man, if we score on this drive, it's done. Well, little did we know we were going to score on that play, and it was unbelievable. And so like that piece you did, obviously it wasn't over, but then definitively, I mean, in the fourth quarter, there, a few minutes left in the game, it's we were still up. I mean, what was it, 40-6 before they
Yeah.
had those two late ones. That's
That was the
what
real score, Jamal. That was the
that
real score.
Yeah, the true score.
We
that's
all know that was the real score.
my wife says that all the time, but yeah, that was, you could see it. Like there wasn't a way that they were going to be able to come back from that much of a deficit, and the fact that we were even able to put that many points on the board to keep them from scoring the way that we did. I mean, it was unbelievable. I think just it was going to be meant to be. I mean, and fortunately for us, just to be able to get some things off our shoulders, it was against the Chiefs, but that was a game and that was a moment with a team that I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure who else could have lined up against us, and the way we were playing, the way we were dialed in that week, was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
This reminded me of another question to ask. You're just full of diamond and gold here, Jamal, as usual. There's an awesome moment in the game where you're calming Saquon down after the Chiefs were shutting the run game down. Um, I'll let you ask the end of this question, Phil. Or I'm going to give you the credit for coming with this question. How do you manage those moments in such a high stakes situation when you've got someone like Saquon, the season he's had, the occasion it's in? How do you manage something like that?
Yeah, well, I think those guys, they're competitive, right? That's why they do what they do, and want to be successful. They want to help the team. They want, and Saquon in his mind, maybe a little bit jaded because of what he'd been doing throughout the rest of the playoffs. The way
Do you
he
think he was a
anticipated.
little? Do you think he was a little jaded? Like, so do you think he was a bit that the rub of the tires? Do you think that affected him a little bit after that season?
No, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think more of it was he'd had such success and he wasn't having that success in
Wasn't
the
used to
game.
it, right?
So
Gotcha.
it's like, and it was tough, and he was fighting for every yard, and it great. And I think I told him on the sideline. I think they may have captured this on video or something. I was just like, they're basically trying to shut you down with their entire defense.
Yeah.
And I says, it's like they forgot that we have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, Dallas Goedert, and you look at it, it's like, all those other weapons made big time plays.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you can't do both. You can't shut down just the premier running back and not worry about their receivers. And I think Jalen, the way he played, all that, it was, to me, it was perfect. I said, you've taken the brunt of what's going on and allowed other teams to play. I said, that's, to me, that's the best part.
Best
A
part,
great
yeah.
player makes his teammates better, and by him being on the field and his presence, how he won, he made his teammates better. We saw that throughout the year. We saw that there was times where, hey, some of the receivers had to make big time plays, and hey, running back. But that's football, and that's when you know you have a good team is when you're capable of making plays from different areas of the field. And I know it all starts with Jalen and him going there, and then handing the ball to Saquon, and then throwing the passes to those guys. It was a lot of fun. But you do, yeah, you're trying to keep them motivated because a guy can get maybe a little on himself too much, and it just affects his play. And I think sometimes as a coach, yeah, we have to coach, but sometimes we got to help them with that mental aspect of their game to stay positive. And it was like, it dawned on him, he was like, yeah, that's right, they are. They're trying to do everything they can to stop me. And I was like, that should be victory in your mind alone.
Yeah, I mean that's helping you win the Super Bowl. You're helping your
It
team
helped you
win the
win the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah.
They think that highly of you that they're selling out, doing everything they can to stop you. And you're still grinding some yards. It's not like you didn't do anything. I mean, you're still grinding some yards and force. I mean, I think you look at the dagger. You know, a lot of people look at it. I look at the play action fake of what it did to the entire front. I mean, it was 1-on-1. The linebackers were at the line of scrimmage because we faked it to handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley. And now
Is there a
Devontae's
little bit of disrespect in there for Jalen Hurts from, I don't want to say the the Chiefs defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, like,
yeah.
Yes.
on Jalen. I don't want to put words in your mouth at all, but like, so maybe I'll put it a different way. Were they a bit naive to put all of their eggs in one basket to stop Barkley when
That's
you have all the other weapons?
I have no idea. You know, it just we have the joke. Well, I'm not in their meetings, so
Yeah, true.
I wish I
No,
could be. That'd be some good information I could get. But no,
yeah.
I think everybody's got makes a decision on how they're going to defend the team, and that's I think they made that thought that hey, we can't let Saquon beat us. I mean, you watch the playoffs. It's like if there was one thing you had to try and do, it was stop him, and a lot of people weren't able to do that. So they figured, okay, we'll do this. And again, we have Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and one of the best O lines there is. It's like you can't make us one dimensional. We've got too many good players. So I think that was maybe a choice for them that hey, if we're going to lose, we're going to have to lose with the pass, and for us,
And if
that's
they do,
okay.
they do, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's
I think for the biggest part of it was that our defense. The way our defense played in that game. You had 6 sacks with no blitzes. You had 4 guys rushing the quarterback, and he was sacked. He was flustered. He threw picks. I think there's a lot. I think Vic's got a lot of credit. Fangio got a lot of credit this year for the defense, rightly so. And the way those guys played that game, it allowed us to do something. I mean, they basically held them to 6 points.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
One of the best offensive minds the NFL has ever seen. One of the best quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen, and no doubt this was one of the best defenses the league has ever seen for that year last year. It's hard. Mick. So on that message that Phil sent, there was also a message from Mick which was like, Liam, stop talking shit. I'm assuming when I was talking about the Cats, but I'm going to continue to talk shit because I had a really weird analogy in my head when you were talking about like when they were stopping Jaden, like Lord of the Rings, like so Aragorn is getting like double teamed, but Legolas and Gimli are right there, like they're gonna get you, right?
I don't know any of this stuff.
My finger is hovering over the mute button. Don't worry, Jemal.
Anyway, can you pull up Ben's question because it was kind of linked to this question, Phil? Was the game plan to run heavy, which got changed by how the Chiefs were so focused on stopping Saquon, or was it always to rely on one-on-ones?
I don't think you ever going to, hey, we're going to run the ball this game. That's all we're going to do. Or, hey, we're going to pass for 400 yards. You never really go into that. You have a game plan that have specific run plays that you think can be effective. You have specific pass plays that go against their different coverages that they've shown and things that they've done. But for us, I think that's what was great about this year. I mean, we could be multidimensional. We could run the football. We could throw the football. And sometimes we only had to do one of them. but we had both capable. So, yeah, they were stopping the run, but it's not like we stopped running the football. I mean, the number of carries Saquon had, the number of times we continued to force the issue, and I think some of that in the play action pass game is what opened up some things. You had a couple of deep balls that we were able to throw with good play action fakes off of that, but no, you kind of every now and then you have to respond to what the defense is doing, and we felt at that point we were running the ball. We weren't going to stop running it, but we could take some shots down the field that gets them, and I think you saw that in the game. So for us, it's fine. We're capable at the point of passing the ball if we need to win, run the ball
whatever way we can.
And to me, that's what's considered a balanced team. It's not run 50, pass 50. It's do what you have to do to win the game. If it's pass, pass. If it's run, run, but be capable to do both of those.
Love that.
Okay. So next, I want to talk a bit more about Saquon Barkley. We've got Jemal Singleton on. Let's just talk about Saquon Barkley now. But we have to ask, from your perspective, being so close to him, what was your favorite Saquon Barkley moment from the season, and why was it the reversal?
No, and let me put this out there. That play was unbelievable. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yep. We were there for that game, Liam.
Yeah, we were there. Yeah.
Well, what I'm mad about is all the work me and Saquon did in training, working that move. We set up drills, and it took him that long to find out where I'm playing. That man came up with that thing. I don't know what.
Apparently, he said he tried it in training before once, but didn't do it properly or something.
He's half. His mind just is really thinking when he's on the field. But how many people are not only capable of pulling that off, but are mentally aware that, hey, this might actually work in this moment. So, no, that's not my favorite play. That's what actually I hate when running backs jump. They all know it. I hate when they leave the ground.
You told us when we saw you in person, yeah.
So it's that's the piece I'm not a big fan. And right after it, because he was in the air and then he landed on the ground, he took a pretty mean shot right to his back. So he had to come out the game. So I remember I'm like, this is great. And then I'm like, Kenny, trying to get the sub in because I see by how he got up. Oh, no, he's coming out. I got to get Kenny in. So, no, that's not my favorite play. I know it won an SB and all this. No, I get it. My favorite play is the run that he had against the Rams in the snow for the long time.
Do you know what, Jamal? Sorry to interject, but that is literally part of me going, I know it's probably the Saquon run in the snow, man.
There's the story about this. So there's a lot of different things out there.
I've heard it, but our listeners won't have heard it from you.
There's some terrible lip readers out there, and they're reading his lips. He said, "Watch this," and all this stuff. It's like that's not what he said. So this is really kind of cool. So we're running it just like, it's snowing, it's on the ground and working. And Saquon's like, hey, I kind of feel like I can make this backside cut on our tight zone, but I need to be same side. It's like, okay, like for real, like why? What do you think? It's like, because. So I'm like, okay, hey, let's go talk to Kellen. So boom, we roll. Okay, hey, Kellen, Saquon thinks this. Kellen's like,
he wasn't having a good game at that point, right, Jamal? Wasn't he frustrated as well?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, he'd done some decent things. He broke the long run early and all that. So when we talk about he wasn't having a good game,
what are you talking about?
I feel like he was frustrated, though. Wasn't he quite frustrated at the time?
Well, yeah, because
weather,
the ball moved, it was in that, we were in that kind of tough position. But so we're like, hey, what do you think about this? He's like, yeah, I'm good with it if you want to do it. So boom, we get in there. Well, somehow Saquon gets lined up on the wrong side, so it no longer becomes a same side run. So it's a little bit different. And he's like, hey, Jalen, I think I'm
on the wrong side.
And he's like, just go. Because it doesn't matter. It's really just an entry point. You're going to get to the same spot, whatever. Well, earlier that week, we had because I played or coached in a snow game in Buffalo, like big time snow on the ground. I was coaching Frank Gore. Actually, it was Shady McCoy's other snow game when he was at Buffalo, because Frank Gore was leading the rush. And Shady had a good run, but he had some great runs in the snow. So we were watching some clips of that game, but then also of the snow game here, the Eagles. And it was funny. We kind of just saw there's like, hey, when Shady's able to make these great cuts, the ball's always on the hash. Why? Well, they clear the hashes. That's the one thing that gets cleared on a football field so they can see those hashes. And your footwork, you can do some things with your footwork. So we had kind of talked about that. It just so happened ball was on the hash. Now he's on the wrong
Uh-huh.
side. But he presses that zone, hits that hash, and makes this lateral cut that you're not making if the ball's in the middle of the field. Not at all. And you can see he's more decisive than the defenders, and he just cribs and he's gone. And I remember there's a couple things fundamentally. He's a very right hand dominant ball carrier. It's something we've continued to work on to get him to comfortable enough to carry the ball in his left hand. Well, on this play, he's got the ball in his left hand. He makes the great cut. He's like pounding his head when he's running through. The NFL Films version of this play is the great. It's if they put the old throwback music on it, and he's running. It's like, oh man, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I say it. So you mentioned a young man here that does some amazing artwork about sports stuff. So George Spector, he drew that paint. I was like, I gotta have that. Like I gotta. So I was able to meet him, buy one of his pictures. It's hanging in my basement. But that is my favorite play, and in the magnitude of it too. Taking it to that game. The fact that this is against the same opponent that he broke the single game rushing record, so it's not like they were thinking, we don't have to stop Saquon, and he was able to do some great things. But that's just the snow, and you see the film, and there's players behind him with their hands up. I mean, Lane's probably signaling touchdown because he always does that when Saquon breaks off. And it's like it was just a really, really just the whole moment in general. Now we had to sweat a little bit until Jalen Carter got a pretty good sack to help us on that next drive. But that of the year, that's just the epic moment, the film of it. He had a picture of it. He had the ball in his left hand. That part for me, just all the storylines was my favorite run of Saquon's of the year.
That's amazing. And yeah, shout out to Jordan Spector. I think I mentioned before we came on air. He says hello, Jemal. I was chatting to him today. We're planning a Phillies game and dinner at some point, so we're going to try and see if we can sneak you in one night during the season.
He's got some great work, man. There's no doubt.
I've got a number of his artworks.
That's one of his right there, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, he's awesome. All right, let's turn it over to a bit of fun again. When you first came on this podcast a few years ago, Jemal, we played a game with you, and that game was to choose your first and only Premier League team, football team, because one of them was Scottish.
Yeah.
You had Celtic, you had Man United, you had Newcastle, and you had Nottingham Forest. I have to admit, at the time when you chose Nottingham Forest, I thought it was a woeful idea. And I thought, why have you done that? Like, they haven't been relevant in years. And maybe you're the lucky charm.
It's in all my evaluations that I spend, whether it's NFL football players, running backs, or that I put those same things together as I pick my team. I could just see a future that was extremely bright, and it's getting thick here. I know it. I'm trying to
absolute bullshit.
No, it's definitely. I went straight with Fat, but it just so happened that boom, I make that decision, and these guys kind of moving on. This year now, and again, I don't get to follow them as much as I like. Usually, we're playing or I'm prepping for work. That I don't get to watch them. I check the scores. There's a couple of guys on staff that we kind of talk about different games and that stuff. So this year, I thought it was about to be as epic a year for them as it was for the Eagles, and it seemed to be on that path. Now, a little short, but I think that just sets them up for the future. They've got a little bit of taste of what it can be, and maybe they'll make that turn this next year and take it an even step further.
Now, have you kept, and it's fine if your answer is no, but have you kept up with any of the transfers that have been going on this summer?
No, I'd be lying. When the season starts, that's what I look at, so I can know who them are.
So I'm going to give you a bit of.
And I figured it was something good.
Yeah, well, they did really well. They nearly made the Champions League. Of course, they were a multi-champion European Cup winner back in the 70s. The history is incredible for Nottingham Forest. But a few things have happened this off-season, which has been kind of weird for Forest. So you remember Elanga, the winger? Yeah. He's now a Newcastle player.
Okay, yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
So we signed him last week. Tottenham Hotspur have just tried to sign Morgan Gibbs-White, but Nottingham Forest have complained and have filed a suit for tampering. So there's an ongoing investigation at the moment
Oh,
between
great.
Nottingham Forest
Those
and
juicy stories. I like it.
and Spurs. And finally, a bit of good news. You qualify. There's 3 European tiers in football. You've got the Champions League, the UEFA Cup, and the Europa Conference League. Now, Forest, because they fell away a little bit towards the end of the season, qualified for the UEFA Conference League. However, Crystal Palace have just been banned from the Europa League because they own two clubs in Europe. So Forest have now been promoted into the second European tier, into the Europa League. So there's a bit of good news for you,
There you
Jamal.
go. There you go.
So we'll have to. I think I dropped you a message. We'll have to try and do the Newcastle Forest game in
Forest game, yeah. We'll have to check
whatever
that out.
whatever bar shows it at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I don't know.
That's it.
I don't
That's
know.
it. I think
Cool.
maybe they need to know at Nottingham Forest that this American running back coach over here has like been a fan, and they've started winning ever since we kind of gained together. So who knows?
I'm thinking private plane, match day
it's
experience, suite with the owner.
Yeah.
We'll get you back in the UK at some point, Jamal.
Yeah,
We'll
for sure.
all get to a game, man. It'd be cool.
That would be a blast.
That would be awesome. All right, good stuff. Some more Saquon questions.
I'm sorry. Are the Saquon questions getting in the way of Cat and Nottingham Forest? Because
yeah, they are.
I am Saquon Barkley, running back coach. If you didn't know,
idea. So you were
right there.
Oh, that's so good. You're understandably over the moon when Eagles picked Saquon last year. But give us your perspective on Saquon, not the player, but more the man and the impact he had on the dressing room and on you and on the Eagles as a whole.
No, I've said this a million times to anybody that will listen. He is an even better person than he is a player, and he is an unbelievable player. And I think that's the piece. And you look at it, just his leadership, his mindset. He has fun. Right? He enjoys playing football. He enjoys practicing. He enjoys being around the guys. Enjoys being in the locker room. I mean, it's just he's a joyful person when it comes to being with the organization. And he came. It was a little rough, his transition and that. I think it would shake anybody that goes through something like he did, and then have it all out in public with the hard knock stuff that he had to deal with as well. But no,
yeah.
he was all. I mean, you got to take it from me. I mean, I think everyone's seen the video at the Super Bowl of what Jalen said to him. It's like, hey, you are a missing piece. And, I think not only on the offense and that, but just in the locker room, just his leadership, his presence, and that stuff. And just, I've talked with Will Shipley a bunch of times. He's my rookie, or was a rookie. Yeah. And, I'd say, hey, realize you don't get it like this all the time. Like, you are experiencing unbelievable. You get a chance to learn from Saquon, watch him, see how he conducts his business. And I remember standing on the sideline at the New York Giants game, and everybody's seen that piece, let the young boys eat piece. But I'm talking to Will Shipley up there. I said, hey, I don't know what to do it, but because it's during the game, I said, but you need to know the type of man that's in our room. And I said, Saquon had a chance to go in there and break his record, right, against an old team that kind of threw him to the curb. And he said, no, I want the young guys to get their playing time. And, we both just kind of sat there and had a moment of like, this is pretty cool that we get to be around a veteran that is team first. Definitely confident, definitely works his butt off, definitely wants to be great. But he understands, he's a phenomenal teammate. So, like I said, blessed, feel definitely blessed to be able to even be a small piece of his journey. But he great young man, great family. It's been a lot of fun getting to know him as a person, not just a football player.
Yeah, I mean, that's all. We've talked about it in person before. We've talked about it on this podcast last year as well. Quickly before you take that question, Phil, who's winning a game of golf, Saquon Barkley or Jemal Singleton?
Hey, you see, I think I'm taking it. He's ducking me. Like, we ain't played.
Oh, yeah?
I think he's ducking me because he ain't going to be able to live down getting beat by his coach. But I've seen his swing. I've seen him play. He's getting better. But I still think when it comes down to it, my history and my veteran nature and how long I've been playing might take over. But the sticks are getting put up away right now, so there's not any golf anytime soon. Maybe I may have to just drag him out somewhere in the off season and make him play me.
You got an opportunity right now to call him out. Call Saquon out next summer.
We'll definitely make that happen. But the problem is, he played a lot more this offseason than I did. I mean, there's something about being Saquon Barkley that comes with a lot of free golf. So
the time's got to be right.
Presidential free golf at that as well.
I know.
Right?
So it's now I won't lie. I was able to play at that same course with a buddy of mine. A beautiful course, but yeah, so we'll have to see. I mean, two stocky running backs swinging clubs. It looks funny as it is anyway, but we'll get that going. Believe me, if the next year's podcast I might be on here, I might make a buckle for that. Be Saquon Barkley golfing type deal.
That's amazing. Right, before the podcast, you told us a little story, Phil. Sorry, I will let you go next because it's related to this. It's related to off-season, activities. And you said when you were young and you were playing college ball, you had to get special recommendation sign-off to ride bulls in the off-season. Tell us a little bit about that, but also, what did you tell Saquon he could or couldn't do this off-season?
Well, it was right after I graduated from the Air Force Academy, so I was active duty in the Air Force. My wife was competing; she was a barrel racer, competitive.
Barrel racer, I love that.
Yeah, doing it professional in the rodeo world, and I'm still young. I'm fresh out of playing college ball. I'm still in really good shape. All this good stuff. In the back of my mind, I was like, I'm tired of sitting in these stands watching. There's got to be an event that I can do, and there was a lot of things. I was like, well, if I rope, I need to learn how to swing a rope and ride a horse. If I do this, I got to learn how to ride. I was like, you know what? The easiest thing would probably be, that's my rationale at that point, to ride a bull. All I got to do is hold on. So I spent a summer, as crazy as it sounds, I spent a summer riding bulls. I went to like a class, they taught it. Boom, I rode a couple bulls down at this small town bar down in south of where I was living, and rode bulls for a little bit. I got everything. I had a helmet with Air Force bolts on it. I had chaps.
Of course you did.
The fringe with the
you
silver.
were always flashy, even back then.
I was all into it. Never did anything for real, but rode a whole summer, and then kind of reality set is like you're gonna get hurt, and you have to work, and you have to pay bills. What are you doing trying to ride bulls? So that was my short stint of bull riding that during that time. And say what I told Saquon is go play a lot of golf. And I think he did a good job and enjoyed that. And I think at the end of the season, it was kind of a little bit related to, I think, one of the questions that was posed was just his workload of things. And that's, we had to be extremely smart this offseason. I mean, we played 21 football games last year, right? And that was crazy. So it's the offseason was part of, okay, let's temper it. We don't need to do it as much. We can be a little bit low key with that. We get to OTAs, let's get a little bit of work. And really some of that's going to carry into training camp. I mean, he's going to get his work. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows where his body has to be when we kick off. And that's going to be part of it. Now, when we talk about workload, I think the workload piece, and it will always be this way, is you basically help his workload during the week of practice. So Monday through Saturday, like that's when you really control the workload. Sundays, the game dictates itself sometimes. There's going to be times where, hey, man, he had 25 carries this game. There's going to be games where, hey, he only had 13 carries. Or, hey, he's got reps. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you do. Based upon his game time reps that week, that's how you basically work his workload the following week. But you can't, I mean, it's like, hey, he reached his max. He was only supposed to get 5 carries in this game. You're not doing that. That's a little tough. But you were definitely making sure that he's getting his recovery time during the week, that you're limiting the amount of exposure that he has to contact, to full speed workload, all of those things. And I think we're one of the best. Our strength and conditioning, we track everything, workload management, all those things to make sure that our guys are getting enough to be ready to play on Sunday, but not so much that now they're being diminished on Sunday.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean that pretty much answers Kevin's question, which is how do you manage his workload this year? And I guess the way I would summarize your answer there would be, we've got a guy who's one of the best athletes and best running backs of all time, in my opinion, in terms of sheer talent and what he achieved last season. You got to maximize that when you have a chance to play him, and just try and protect him around the games. Would that be a fair summary?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be games he's going to have to carry a big workload, and then there's going to be other games where he doesn't. and you kind of let those things weigh each other out and make sure that his body and his weekly workload is relatively consistent, and you usually make that consistency during the week.
Phil, I mean, good follow-up question. Not sure we'll get a direct answer on this one, but you can try.
What the depth question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's outside of Saquon Barkley for a change. Change up in the questions. How did you evaluate the support act basically to Saquon the season last season? So with Shipley and Gainwell, obviously Shipley had that pretty epic run where he almost scored the touchdown. A little bit of a garbage one, but it was an epic moment for him, I'm sure, looking up at the scoreboard. But generally over the course of the season, how well, from your perspective, did they provide the support for Saquon? Like you're saying, like when he did the revertal, obviously you thought he was going to come out of the game, and you were like, Gainwell's got to go in and follow that kind of epic performance. Like, what's your evaluation of the depth pieces that have been supporting Saquon this season?
So are you talking about the Super Bowl year with Kenny? Or
Yeah, the Super Bowl year. Yeah. I've got a follow up question for that.
The follow-up one is the one I don't think you'll answer, but
well, to be honest, I thought with Kenny and with Will, it was really good. And you got times where if Saquon needed to come out to catch a breath, Kenny went in, and we didn't skip a beat. There was, you looked at the New York Giants game was one of them. He had a long run, came out, and then Kenny came in and had 2 straight carries for like 20 yards. And it was those pieces. So it was, they were limited roles and limited time because obviously Saquon was going to take the majority of everything. But when Kenny got in there and was able to pass protect, he did a lot of really good things. Will got in obviously a little bit less, just being the third guy at that point. But I think the piece that we missed, and a rookie, was Kenny and Will Shipley on special teams was unbelievable. I mean, Will Shipley's a rookie, and he's our personal protector on punt. Well, that's like the quarterback of the punt team. You don't see many rookies that are capable to do that. He was. He ran down on kickoff. So did Kenny. And I'll bring this, one of my favorite moments in my history of coaching. So I was a special teams coordinator at the University of Arkansas for a year. Kind of always been a part of special teams. And one of my goals in coaching has always been, I want a running back to score a touchdown, then run down on the ensuing kickoff and make the tackle. Like, to me, that would be cool. Well, did get that, but something even more epic, just how the game. So for our room in the NFC Championship game, how the game started, Will Shipley had a really, really good kickoff return that got us near midfield. Next play, Saquon takes it to the house for a touchdown. Fast forward, boom, Will Shipley's running down the field on kickoff, makes a tackle, causes a fumble. Boom. Who recovers that fumble? Kenny Gainwell. So you had a fumble recovery, you had a forced fumble, you had a touchdown, you had all this from the running back room, from those 3 guys. So while they may not have made big time plays all the time at the running back position, they were doing really important things on special teams too. And I think as our room, for me, is like, man, that might be the best performance I've ever been a part of as just a running back room, with what happened with the stats, what Saquon did on offense, what the 2 guys did on special teams, and then you ended it with Will getting his first touchdown in NFC Championship. So that stuff was awesome, and it is. But you need that support cast, and those guys helped us win the game with how they were doing in special teams, and that was year out. I think Will Shipley led the team, or maybe even in the top 5 in the league in special teams tackles. He'd never tackled in a day in his life in college. So that supporting piece is good. You want to be able to have a guy that when Saquon comes out, you're not going to put another Saquon in. There's only one of those, but you're going to put in a guy that's going to fight, you do well, and still give us a chance to be successful.
I mean, that perfectly segued into the next conversation that Liam doesn't think that you'll answer. I was obviously with Gainwell now out on the picture, gone off to the Steelers in the off season. Where does Shipley fit in? Is he the next man up? Are you expecting him to sort of try and fulfill the RB2 role, or are you thinking AJ Dillon is being brought in to sort of ease that sort of transition in?
I think it's going to be more of, it's a competition. I mean, like I said, there's a open spot per se that AJ and Will need to compete against. Now they're 2 totally different styles of backs, which allows you to maybe do some things that are slightly different for him. So whether Will jumps up to be the number 2 because of what he can do, or if AJ fills in and he becomes the number 2, I mean, that's yet to be seen. That's training camp is a big part of that. We'll have pads on. We get to play some preseason games, and I'm excited for both pieces. I laugh with you've got Saquon, and he's got a little bit of thunder in him. You got some speedy guys, a little bit of lightning, but we might have thunder and thunder when you look at the. I know we've got the all quad team. I can tell you that right now.
I was going to say, are there enough weights in the weight room to do the squat racks? I don't know.
On different days so that there's enough weight. But those no, so that part, and I think AJ coming free agent didn't get to play last year. Was dealing with an injury. He had a great off-season camp with us. Does some really good things. He's been playing football for a while. He's a veteran. He's been around the block a few times, and I think he's got some skills that could definitely help us. I mean, I look at you've tackled Saquon for a quarter, and then enrolls AJ Dillon, and it's like okay, now you're tackling a bigger guy. Then you mix it up, and you got Will Shipley with his elusiveness and his speed. I I like my room. I really do. And there's some, other battles for some undrafted guys to maybe get a chance to move up on the roster. So that part's really fun. But no, I like it. You want competition. You don't want to start the year, okay, this guy's this. No, I want competition. I want guys to have to try and perform and earn a spot. And if Will becomes that guy, awesome. Congrats to him. If AJ's that guy, awesome. But we're going to need all three of them. I mean, there's definitely going to be a need for all of those guys, or at least some form of it.
Okay, well, final question, nicely following on from that is there anything to add on the fringe guys heading into camp? So you got Keelan Robinson signed from the Jags, you've got Shanderick Powell and UDFA, Montrell Johnson Jr. UDFA, and obviously Lou Nichols, who's been part of the team in previous years, has come back to the practice squad. Is there anything you're looking at of those guys in particular coming into camp?
Yeah, the first part is I want to see how they look. As funny as that may sound, you can tell what guys have been training, what guys how they've been working, if they've been really honing in their nutrition and those type of things. I want to see what you are physical. We'll do a run test. I want to see kind of what you've been doing cardio wise and see. So that's usually the first. If a guy's out of shape and comes back even more out of shape, he isn't working. He's probably not going to make it. You got a guy that he needs to change his body comp a little bit. He goes out and he loses 5 pounds and puts on 3 pounds of muscle and does all that stuff, then that lets you know that he's been working away from the building. So I'm excited to see those guys compete. We have the off season. We're just in helmets. Well, we're going to put pads on, and we're going to go one-on-one versus the linebackers in pass rush drill. And we're going to go one-on-one in one-on-one pass drills, and we're going to go against teams in the preseason. So this is the best part of the year is as you're really trying to define your roster, right? You got Saquon. We're going to help him continue to grow. That's good. But there's these other guys down at the bottom that could potentially step up and be, make an impact on the team. And this is the training camp time is when we figure out who those guys are.
Sorry about that, folks.
So I say, you ready to take back over? I don't know what the little episode you had there, Liam.
Stupid, just don't have cats, basically. I heard this noise. I heard this noise like someone was choking or something, and I couldn't find him anywhere. Fucker was sitting in a suitcase with the suitcase closed the entire time. Anyway,
the cat. The new British Irish podcast, Cat Diaries.
Yeah,
Jamal, he will.
I will. I'm assuming we didn't get an answer for AJ Dillon or Shipley at number 2.
Oh, did we? We got a sort of answer. We got
okay. All right. I appreciate that.
There is no answer just yet.
No, I know. Of course, that's too early. Right, I got another fun question for you, just to piss Mick and Phil off, to be honest. So you've lived in a few different countries. I count 3, but you may have lived in more. You've lived in Turkey, England, and the USA. Correct?
Okay, I've lived in Germany for 2.5 years.
Germany as well. All right. Well,
add some bratwurst to this question, then.
I will. Yeah, bratwurst. Yeah. Anywhere else?
Not that Turkey, like I said, I don't remember it. England, Germany, and then we were in Italy for a brief time, but I don't remember it either. So.
All right, I'll add a bratwurst hot dog onto it. Right. So you can only eat one meal for the rest of your life. All right. So you can only eat one meal for the rest of your life. You got a bratwurst sausage. You got a Philly cheesesteak, you got a Turkish kebab, or you got an English shepherd's pie.
Oh. See, like the English shepherd's pie piece is that's a little different because my mom made it different. Like I didn't have like the onions and all, and it wasn't lamb. Like it was, I really enjoyed it.
Let me change that up then. Let me make it more similar to Turkish kebab, Philly cheesesteak, and bratwurst. I'll give you proper English fish and chips?
Oh, I'm going fish and chips. I mean, you can't proper fish and chips. I would have went cheesesteak, but then you went fish and chips on me. I have to have nice
Oh.
chips. If I can sneak that in every now and then, that'd be great too. But no, you can't.
Mm.
You can't get chips. Like I've yet to find the most perfect chip place. There's a British shop not too far from here that's close. They were close, but it's just if it wrapped in newspaper and in the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Yep.
are those chips that I need.
Vinegar and salt on that bad
Oh,
boy.
malt vinegar for sure, just all over it. It's really good.
Love that. Fish and chips. There you go. I have my answer. All right. You start tomorrow. Super Bowl's over. You can stop parading your ring and your belt. You got to look for the next one. 3 times Super Bowl winning running back coach, assistant
Gosh,
head coach sounds better than one time. Even though that sounds amazing. So what are you going to do anything different this year now that you've won the Super Bowl? Do you have like a regiment plan you're going to follow similar to last year? Anything different you're going to weave in?
no, no, I don't. You don't switch it all up and just we can't do what we did last year. Well, there's going to be some things that are going to be similar to last year, but the biggest thing is understanding that you have to be fluid. Every year is unique and different. Every year is going to have different problems. Every year is going to have different successes, all those things. And it's more about how you adapt and overcome to those curveballs that you get thrown. And I think for us, it's this, hey, making sure we're focusing one day at a time. I know it sounds cliche, but it's it. If we're looking ahead, wow, when we play week 7 or we play, that's not going to get you. Our focus right now needs to be on the Dallas Cowboys. We play them Thursday night. We open the season with them. That's who our focus needs to be. And as soon as they're no longer our focus, boom, we flip it to the next one. And I think that's the most important piece of, hey, you're going to have to work. It may require a lot more work than what it did last year, but that just depends. It may require similar work with some adjustments. But it's you got to be fluid. You got to be flexible. If it's like, hey, we're going to do this, 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 and this, it ain't gonna happen. There's plenty of people that did this, and lost.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. So there's so many other pieces. How I coach AJ, how Saquon, how we use the tools that we have, how the different pieces that we've gotten in our team mold, whether the draft or free agency. How's the locker room? What's the culture? All those things that happen. You might as well look at the fact that it's like, hey, start from scratch. You didn't win, you lost, you're 0-0, and you got to figure out how to help this team win game 1.
Love that. I mean, great question on the chat.
Yeah.
Can you see that,
Oh,
Matthew Kenny? Do you look to any specific metrics to gauge fitness levels of your running backs?
so sports science is a big part of the NFL now, and we use a lot of things. So whether body comp, that's kind of your first thing. Visually, how much does a person weigh? How much lean muscle mass do they have? How much body fat percentage do they have? Like those are your specific measurements. Now we do all that stuff. We measure basically their bone density. So you have frame scores. There's a lot of things just them standing there that we get information from them to determine what their ideal weight should be. Are they over? Are they under? And that's a big part of the NFL. We can find people for being overweight, not the weight they're supposed to be. We also will put heart monitors on them during practice. They all wear GPSs, so we can see what their top speeds are. We can see what their maximum accelerations are. We can see what their total yardage is. All of that stuff. We do I say simple, but we do a fitness run test right when they get back. Then that's the first one. And really, it's a test that if you've been working, you'll pass. If you haven't, yeah, you got a good chance you're going to fail. And you don't want to fail. And that's,
Just on that point, Jamal, have we got any Debo Samuels in the team who are coming back day one and aren't looking as fresh as they should be year on year and need to hit the gym hard?
Yeah, they hit that run test. Yeah, they as soon as they walk in the building, that's one that they know. So yeah,
Yep.
the amount of information that we get on a player for every single day of practice, also measurements from the weight room. Even guys that may have a slight imbalance, we can measure where that imbalance is, and give them protocols that allows them to maybe strengthen their right knee a little bit more because
That's
it's
cool.
off centered from their left. I mean, the amount of science that's involved. As I mentioned earlier, our strength and conditioning team, our player performance team, just all the data that they put together, all the charts that they kind of, hey, so and so his high speed yardage was this. We hit 90% of his max speed tomorrow, so let's make sure he opens it up. There's a lot of things. These guys were definitely in tune to where they're at physically, fitness, size, strength, you name it.
Sounds like I got a chance of coming back to professional sports from my early soccer days, Phil, with my artificial ankle and my 25-pound overweight.
Yeah, you might not pass the physical to begin with, so
I don't expect I would at the moment. Yeah, let me. I'll see you mid-season. I'll see how trim I'm looking, Jamal. I got some new
there you
things I'm
go.
working on. All right.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Gotta get to one of the biggest. Well, actually, just before we do, so two questions. One, how, what did you buy Jeff Stoutland as a present for the Super Bowl? I'm kidding. Like, how great is it to have that offensive line as a support and to work in tandem with you as the running back coach in a running back room? How
Oh,
great is it having someone like him?
I mean, it's all that entire room. It's awesome. You know, you saw it with Stout and his guys, and he just all and they're great. And I think what's even better was our running back. They love Saquon. Like they love him, and I think they knew basically they could perform, and now he can perform in a way that even brings them, some highlight. That's them scoring. They're as much as part of that. I'm joking. I'm wearing that 2K Say shirt that he had
Yeah.
made. Got all his offensive linemen on it, and on the back it says, "How about that O line?" I mean, that's
Yeah.
just the type of player that he is, and really, I think our mantra has been you can't be great without the greatness of others. That was a prime example. That relationship, the O line and Saquon, just them doing what they were doing, him doing what doing, and both of them being able to achieve greatness for that. So it's awesome. You work with Stout, and he's been here for a long time, and I think that's a big part. Continuity is a huge part of it, and I think Mr. Laurie and how we look at that and say, you know what, this guy's been in this room, he's been with these guys, no matter no matter who's here coaching, Stout should be in that offensive line room, and those guys have performed, and it's been cool just kind of working with him and those guys, whether it's in pass protections or in run game stuff. It becomes a lot of fun, and you got a great group. You got Lane Johnson over there. You got Cam Jurgens, which is awesome just to watch.
Yeah.
He was able to do this year after stepping out of maybe a shadow he may have been in there before and kind of creating his own lane, and Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata. We'll see who takes that right guard position this year, but it's fun. It's fun when your players gel the way they do, and the O line looks at the running back in a way that they love him. So it's pretty much awesome.
I remember when JC Kelsey was considering retiring a couple of years ago, and Sirianni sent him a few kegs of beer to convince him to come back. If Jeff Stoutland ever thinks about retiring, Jamal, can you let me know so I can ship some kegs of beer his way to get him to stay?
Get him some stuff. Yeah, I looking at this question here that really kind of matches up with kind of what we're talking about. Yeah, I mean the fact that those guys are here now, that's a lot of money on that O line now. So it's the fact that you got to spend to lock up an O line like that, and the fact that we were able to Saquon the type of deal he signed this offseason, which is rightly so. So you got great O line with long term deals. You got great back with long term deals. So hopefully they can keep winning and keep running the way they've been doing, and it'll be a lot of fun for a few years to come.
I can't help but feel that whoever's going to be the right guard for the Eagles for the next 2 or 3 years is going to be earning significantly less than the rest of the 4 offensive linemen, just based
Well,
on the salary cap.
you saw Mackay. Mackay came in for not a whole lot, a 1-year deal, and now he's
Yep.
pretty
Well,
good.
that's
So.
the enticing factor behind it, isn't it? Right? Come to
Yeah.
the Eagles, work with Stoutland, work with the best O line in football. Go get yourself paid next year, even if it's not here.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, that's definitely motivation for a free agent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Phil. Probably shove, as I still like to call it. Your question's up here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Obviously, it's a big part of the debate on whether Saquon's getting the touchdowns, Jalen Hurts getting the touchdowns. Obviously, the potential that it was looking like it was going to be banned in the offseason, and then at the 11th hour that the vote doesn't pass. What's your personal take on it, and also how does that impact you in terms of your preparation? Were you kind of starting to think I'm going to start making more preparations for Saquon because he's going to be getting more opportunities, or do you just kind of roll with it?
Yeah, well, it was we were all just kind of waiting to see what the final answer was going to be, and so during that time we did start looking a little bit more into like what short yardage plays, like what are the things that you're going to do in short yardage. We've always kind of relied heavily on the brotherly shove, as we say, but to get that done. But it's the play is a part of it, and it's something that I look back to when we just kind of started doing it and how the play has grown and how we do it has grown, all those different things. But it's crazy. It's like we helped, I won't say created a play because it's always been there, but we helped make a
Oh,
play.
you did. You
You know?
100% created. I mean, stop it, right? You created. There was a sneak. There wasn't like a 4-yard
Yeah.
bulldozer.
And there was a little bit of it's like, man, you've made this play, you've perfected this play so well that they're not trying to defend it, they're trying to ban it. Like that's like the little part is like that's kind of cool, right? You can't you from us doing it. So no, it's a great thing for us. It's a huge part of our short yardage game, whether it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, whether it's on the goal line, those type of things. And Saquon knows you can't get tackled at the 1. You can't get tackled at the 1. You get tackled at the 1, then you're not scoring. You get tackled at the 6, you may get the ball again. You just keep doing like you've been doing. Score from the 60 yards in, and it'll be really good. You won't have to worry.
Bitching and moaning about the tush push and get it over the 1-yard line. Come on,
Exactly.
Saquon. What you doing here?
Yeah, and he's good. Saquon. Crazy thing is Saquon loves it. Like
I'm sure.
like getting it, but it's chaos, and it's like we're just stronger, and we've devised it a way that these guys fundamentally deal with the leverage, deal with the push, and just it's been a great play for us. It's not like anybody else can't do it. They're loud; they can do the same thing, but we've kind of taken it to another level, and that's been pretty well.
I can't help but feel like this is the swan song last season for the tush push with the way the NFL is going. But I really hope that is not the case. So, but look, we've got a really lovely question to kind of end us out here. We'll give you the opportunity to ask any questions of us and before we go. But you might remember Anna, who came on the trip with Gary, Gary's daughter. You would have met
Yeah.
them when we went to meet them. She had a lovely question for you here. She says, hi coach, Anna here. We met at the British and Irish Eagles visit. I'm 13 and I love the Eagles. I want to work in sports. Any advice on what to focus on or how to find what role might suit me? Cheers, Anna.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. This may be a little different than the answer you were probably thinking of getting. I say play sports. Play any of the sports that you can, and find one that you're passionate about it. Because I do think that if you're going to work in the sports side, if it's not coaching, if it's not playing, you have an understanding of the game and you've played the game. I've always felt that maybe your voice and your opinion garners a little bit more respect when you've actually played the sport that you're talking about. That's why half of the guys that announce games are former players and those type of things. So it's when you start to kind of define what area of sports you want to get to, whether it's the management piece, whether it's a coaching piece, whether it's a media piece, there's so many different levels that you can be involved in sports. But I do believe, I think play, especially being 13, play as many sports as you can, whether it's you're going to play soccer, whether you're going to play rugby, whether you're going to play field hockey, any of that stuff that you're thinking about, and go and play flag football. I mean, flag football is taking a whole new world right now, and it's going to be an Olympic sport, and you see the number of young ladies that play flag football here in the U.S. has grown exponentially, so it's good. But I would say at 13, play the games and find the one that you love the most, and then start learning everything you possibly can about it, so that when you do decide, hey, I want to get into the marketing piece, or I want to get into the representative piece where I'm an agent for an athlete, those are the kind of the defines you need to do. But right now, go have fun, go play the sport, and find which one you're passionate about.
Yeah, great answer, Jemal. When I was younger, I played every sport under the sun. Cross country, swimming, Gaelic football, hurling, soccer. I did gymnastics. I even did 10-pin bowling. You can maybe argue that wasn't a sport, but I played it nationally for Ireland. We're in an Ireland tournament. So yeah, echo those thoughts. Not that I ever made it as a professional sportsman, but yeah.
But you do have a
Really,
sports podcast.
I went into journalism, and I don't do journalism as my actual job, but I use it for this, which is fun. Yeah, no, listen, great question, Anna. I hope to see you back on an Eagles trip soon and back in Philadelphia. And shout out to Gary Walker, great man as well, Eagles fan, her father. Jemal, any questions for us before we let you go and
Oh,
enjoy your last evening
I
as
know.
the Super
Well,
Bowl champ before you're the 2025-26 Eagles running back coach again
yeah, I
and
know.
assistant head coach?
You kind of answered the most important question I had, because there was some concern on my part with my supplier um, to the U.S. And having trouble sending me my boxes of treats and sweets and
Yep.
all the stuff that I enjoy. But we got that answer. Phil, just let that fall. And any other people that come into town, just know that should be part of their tariff. Should be sweet for me, and then bring a box of some of my favorites, and we'll do
Topical word, tariff. Yeah.
that. That's fun. But no,
Yeah.
again, just always awesome with you guys. I think what's been pretty cool with this whole thing is what started as a little social media message has kind of turned into a relationship with friends, and whether it's on the podcast we get to do now that you guys have been coming over here, we've been able to meet in person and meet the groups that you bring on. And anybody out there listening, if you've not been on one of these trips from there and you come to the game, you need to. It is so much fun. I've been fortunate enough to be able to interact with the groups probably the last 2 years. And it's been fun. I think I think they're still undefeated.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good
We're
record.
undefeated. Yep. 2-0.
Okay, okay, very
2
important.
and
So
0
yeah,
for the
you
trip.
guys can still keep coming. That's good.
Yeah.
But no, that it's an awesome what you guys do, and I mean appreciate that. Appreciate the support. I know the messages back and forth during the off season. We're not on the podcast, but just build those relationships. It's been a pretty cool ride for me so far, and I feel like you've seen me at my low, you've seen me at my high, but you've been there for both of them. So it's been pretty cool.
Oh, we
Appreciate
love
it.
it. And we're gonna have you on the podcast for many, many, many years to come. Into your retirement, and and after, just because it's so great to get your insights and talk to you, and it's just so unique for people listening to this podcast. I think when we first chatted and about it, and you wanted to connect with people in the UK and how close the UK and England is to your heart, like yeah, we get to hear stuff from the other podcasts and the beat writers, but to have someone come on and talk directly to the British and Irish Eagles fans and give them that insight, and you're speaking to them, I think there's something quite special about that, to growing the game and growing the fan base. I mean, you know how much we appreciate it. I know Tony Burton was gutted and Mick were gutted not to be on the podcast today. Mick's looking after his family, and Tony, who works for Loch Lomond, is currently he's at the Open hosting a
Of
whole load
course,
of rich people.
the open over the podcast. You're gonna let them get away with it?
I know. He did say to me though that he's very jealous of my trips to the Nova Care Center, so he's going to bring you a bottle of very nice Loch Lomond whiskey over and some sweets if you
Okay.
if you let him come
Yeah.
along next
Oh
time
yeah,
around.
let's do
So
it. Scratch my back, scratch yours. That's what we're talking about.
yeah, absolutely. Listen, Jamal, incredible. I know it's late in the UK. Phil, I just want to say a big thank you to Phil, because I've been all over the place here in the US with my move, and he did all of the prep for this podcast. And before the podcast said, Liam, just go with the flow and I'll jump in when you can. I just want to make sure it goes okay live. So just a big thanks to Phil for doing all the work for this, because I wouldn't have had the time to get to all this research. And yeah, it's just been
Yeah.
fun. Oh, one more show. Here we go.
The ringer again, yeah. Are
Yeah.
you offering that as thanks for me running the
I just,
podcast,
yeah.
Joel? Is that what you're saying?
I
It's,
just,
uh,
just let me
oh
get the
my
name up.
god,
I just,
it's
Fly,
I
so
Eagles,
nice.
fly.
get that.
Oh
Wait,
my god.
just in case anybody missed it at the beginning of the show. That's
Jamal,
Sorry.
when time allows this season at some point, please bring it with you. I've never seen one in the flesh
oh,
before. Bring a
okay.
security guard
Well,
alongside you.
okay. So let's do this. Let's call it right now. Make
All
sure
right. Okay.
whoever comes over on your trip,
Yeah.
I'll bring the ring. We'll bring that'll be part of the visit that we have. So you better
Love
sign
that.
up if you want to see the ring. That's what we're saying.
I love that. You're awesome.
But,
Oh, Jamal, this is the best. All right, I'm off to a friend's house to go watch the Phillies probably lose because Walker's
whoa.
pitching. Um, joking. they're hit and miss at the moment. Be the 5 games so far, Jemal. I'm hoping they can bring it all home this year and bring another title to the city of brotherly love.
That'd be awesome.
Phil's off to bed, and just love to the family, Jemal, and
We'll do.
say hello to Big Dom and Dave Spadero and Poria when you see them, and from me and from Phil and from everyone. And we'll keep chatting, and hopefully next time we're speaking, well, we'll speak before then, but hopefully next time we're on for our annual podcast, there will be some new ring you're showing us.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get there. We'll do what we can, 1 week at a time. No doubt. Awesome, guys.
Cheers, Coach. Thanks for your time again, as always.
You're the best. Go Birds!
Go Birds!